We live in a world of abundance. Supermarkets overflow with food, restaurants offer endless choices, our grocery stores are stocked to the brim, and our kitchens are filled with ingredients from around the globe. Yet, a shocking truth remains hidden. Nearly 40% of all food produced globally is wasted. This waste happens at every stage of the food supply chain, from farms to retailers to our own homes. This means that for every 3 bites of food produced, one ends up in the trash. Imagine the resources, time, and effort that go into producing food that is never consumed. Meanwhile, millions of people around the world go to bed hungry every night. They struggle to find their next meal while perfectly good food is discarded. This stark contrast between waste and want is a global tragedy. It highlights a deep flaw in our food distribution systems and our societal values. We are failing to feed our planet, not because of a lack of food, but because of a failure to value and utilize what we already have. The inefficiencies in our system are glaring. The problem of food waste is not just about empty stomachs. It is about the misuse of resources and the environmental impact of our wasteful habits. It has far-reaching consequences that affect our environment, our economies, and our very humanity. The cost of food waste is measured not just in dollars, but in the health of our planet. From the resources wasted in producing food that never gets eaten to the methane gas released by rotting food in landfills, the impact of food waste is immense. It contributes significantly to climate change. It is a problem that demands our attention and action. We must come together to address this issue with urgency and innovation. We must find ways to reduce food waste at every stage, from the farm to our forks. By making conscious choices, we can create a more sustainable and equitable food system for all. The journey of food waste begins long before it reaches our plates. In fact, a significant portion of food loss occurs at the very source, the farm. Farmers often face pressure to produce more food than they can sell, leading to surplus harvests that end up rotting in fields. This is particularly true for perishable fruits and vegetables, which are highly susceptible to damage and spoilage. Stringent cosmetic standards imposed by supermarkets also contribute to farm-level waste. Produce that is slightly misshapen, bruised, or otherwise aesthetically imperfect is often rejected, even if it is perfectly safe and nutritious to eat. This emphasis on appearance over substance results in mountains of perfectly edible food being discarded before it even leaves the farm gate. Furthermore, inadequate storage and transportation infrastructure in developing countries exacerbates the problem. Lack of refrigeration, poor road conditions, and inefficient distribution networks lead to significant post-harvest losses, particularly in warmer climates. Supermarkets, while essential for modern food distribution, also play a significant role in food waste. They are the final link in the supply chain before food reaches consumers, and their practices have a profound impact on how much food is wasted. The pressure to maintain fully stocked shelves and offer a wide variety of products often leads to overstocking, particularly for perishable items. This overstocking is driven by the desire to meet consumer expectations and avoid the appearance of empty shelves. This, coupled with consumer demand for fresh produce, results in supermarkets discarding significant quantities of food that is nearing its expiration date or simply deemed past its prime. Often, this food is still perfectly edible but doesn't meet the aesthetic standards set by the store. Additionally, confusing date labeling practices contribute to consumer confusion and food waste. Many consumers misinterpret these labels, leading to the premature disposal of food that is still safe to eat. Products are often labeled with sell-by or best-by dates, which are not necessarily indicators of food safety but rather of peak quality. This distinction is crucial, yet not widely understood by the general public. This leads consumers to discard perfectly edible food simply because the date on the label has passed. The result is a significant amount of food waste that could have been avoided with better education and clearer labeling. Furthermore, supermarkets often prioritize selling larger quantities of food at discounted prices, encouraging consumers to buy more than they need. These promotions, while financially attractive, contribute to the cycle of over-purchasing and subsequent waste. This buy one, get one free mentality, while appealing to consumers, often results in food being wasted at home as it spoils before it can be consumed. The challenge lies in balancing consumer habits with sustainable practices to reduce food waste. While food waste occurs throughout the supply chain, the largest portion of waste in developed countries takes place in our own homes. From overestimating portion sizes to neglecting leftovers, our everyday habits contribute significantly to the global food waste problem. Our desire for variety and abundance also plays a role. We often buy more food than we need, enticed by special offers and the allure of a well-stocked refrigerator. However, this often leads to food being forgotten at the back of shelves or left to spoil in crisper drawers. Furthermore, a lack of awareness about proper food storage techniques contributes to waste. Improperly storing fruits and vegetables, for example, can drastically shorten their shelf life. Similarly, not knowing how to properly freeze and reheat leftovers can lead to perfectly good food being thrown away. Section 5. The environment's burden, food waste and climate change. The environmental consequences of food waste are staggering. Producing food that is never eaten squanders a vast amount of resources, including land, water and energy. It is estimated that if food waste were a country, it would be the third largest emitter of greenhouse gases after the United States and China. The production of food requires significant amounts of water for irrigation, fertilizer production and livestock rearing. When food is wasted, so too is the water used to produce it. This is particularly concerning in the context of increasing water scarcity and drought in many parts of the world. Furthermore, food waste is a major contributor to deforestation. As demand for food grows, so does the pressure to clear land for agriculture, often at the expense of valuable forests. Reducing food waste would help alleviate this pressure and protect these vital ecosystems. Section 6. A moral outrage, food waste and global hunger. In a world where millions of people go to bed hungry every night, the sheer scale of food waste is not just an environmental travesty but a moral outrage. The food that is wasted in developed countries alone could feed millions of people in need. The problem of hunger is complex and multifaceted, stemming from factors such as poverty, inequality and conflict. However, the fact that we are wasting enough food to feed the world's hungry highlights the gross injustice of our current food system. It is simply unacceptable that in the 21st century people continue to suffer from malnutrition and starvation, while perfectly edible food is discarded on a massive scale. We have a moral imperative to address this issue and ensure that everyone has access to the food they need to live healthy and productive lives. Section 7. Turning the tide, solutions for a less wasteful world. Reducing food waste is not an insurmountable challenge. There are numerous practical solutions that can be implemented at every stage of the food chain, from farm to fork. By adopting these solutions, we can make a significant dent in the amount of food we waste and move towards a more sustainable and just food system. At the farm level, improving infrastructure for storage and transportation, particularly in developing countries, is crucial. Investing in refrigeration, better roads, and more efficient distribution networks can significantly reduce post-harvest losses. Relaxing cosmetic standards for fruits and vegetables is another important step. Supermarkets and consumers alike should be encouraged to embrace ugly produce that is perfectly safe and nutritious to eat. This would reduce the amount of food wasted based on appearance alone. Section 8. Success stories, real-world examples of waste reduction. Around the world, innovative initiatives and policies are proving that reducing food waste is not just a pipe dream, but an achievable goal. These success stories offer tangible examples of how we can move towards a less wasteful and more sustainable food system. In France, for example, a law was passed in 2016 prohibiting supermarkets from throwing away unsold food. Instead, they are required to donate it to charities or food banks. This has resulted in a significant decrease in supermarket food waste and provided a vital lifeline to those in need. In Denmark, a consumer awareness campaign called Stop Spilled AF Mad, Stop Wasting Food, has been instrumental in reducing household food waste. The campaign uses humor and practical tips to educate consumers about the issue and empower them to make changes in their own kitchens. Section 9. Your plate, your power, a call to action against food waste. The fight against food waste is not someone else's problem. It is a collective responsibility that requires action from each and every one of us. Every small step we take can make a significant difference. By making conscious choices about the food we buy, eat, and discard, we can all contribute to a more sustainable and just food system. This means that being aware of what we purchase and how we consume it. Start by making small changes in your own kitchen. These small changes can lead to big impacts over time. Plan your meals in advance, make shopping lists, and avoid impulse buys. This helps in reducing unnecessary purchases and ensures you only buy what you need. Be mindful of portion sizes. Serving the right amount of food can prevent waste and promote healthier eating habits. And store food properly to extend its shelf life. Proper storage can keep food fresh longer and reduce spoilage. And don't be afraid to get creative with leftovers. Transforming leftovers into new meals can be both fun and resourceful. Support businesses and organizations that are working to reduce food waste. Your support can amplify their efforts and create a larger impact. Choose restaurants that prioritize local and seasonal ingredients. This not only supports local farmers, but also reduces the carbon footprint associated with food transportation. And offer doggy bags for leftovers. Taking home leftovers ensures that no food goes to waste. Support supermarkets that donate unsold food to charities. This helps in feeding those in need and reduces waste. The fight against food waste is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires consistent effort and dedication over time, but by taking action in our own lives and advocating for change on a larger scale, we can create a world where food is valued, not wasted. Together we can make a difference.